Hello again. I believe my intros might be too long for most people's attention spans, so we are just getting right into it today because what do I even have to talk about at this point anyways? I'll be doing Nino first, and I feel sorry for forgetting about him in my first few videos because unlike most of the others, I've had a plan for him pretty early on. Most of the citizen redesigns are simple, and the hero fits too, but something about this just doesn't fit at all. Now that I'm writing this down, I think it might be because there's nothing in his design that tells us anything about his character. The only thing we get is that he always has headphones, so he likes music. But that's pretty basic and straightforward. Not like there's anything wrong with some straightforward character traits, but when the only telling design is something straightforward, it makes you look uncreative and unable to speak to your audience in a subtle way. At least his personality makes up for it. I didn't know what vibe or aesthetic I was really going for, but I think in the end he came out as a chill skater kid. Someone who looks cool but approachable. Like the other characters, I ended up going with a star theme with him and also completely changed his color palette. I went with some colors that I don't think I've worked with before, but I think it came out very nice. Nino is a pretty down-to-earth character, so I believe the earthy colors fit him well. I also redid his hair, and I apologize to the guys who can rock this, but here it's just plain ugly. Have you seen Hatless Nino? That's just creepy. Nino is probably one of the most likable characters right next to Cat Noir. In one of the very first episodes, he goes up to Adrian's dad and tries to convince him to let Adrian have a birthday party because he knows how much that would mean to him. And at this point in the story, these two are pretty new friends, and I have nothing but respect for him. He's a great friend, a great boyfriend, a horrible detective, but a great rebellion leader. I think I would be doing the character an injustice if I were to change parts of his personality. Switching over to his superhero form. What is that? I'm sorry, but you can't just give the character a shield and make his suit green and come to us calling him a turtle. That's just not how it works. When I showed my mom my redesign next to the original, she said it looked like a frog, and I think she hit the nail right on the head with that one. Just look at his shoes. Those are frog shoes. So once again, I did a complete 180. My main inspiration for this was the SWAT team. I wanted Nino to be a tank, just the powerhouse of the team. I kept the usual bodysuit and strapped some nice armor on him. I needed him to look like he could take a lot of damage and still dish it out. I wanted to keep his hood just because I really like hooded characters, but I think he really needs to show off his new spiky military cut. I think the one little braid shows off his personality well, though. I also threw away the goggles. Every character has the same eye mask, but the one who doesn't gets the weirdest, ugliest thing to hide his identity besides magic. Came up with what I think is a pretty unique mask, completely concealing his face, which I think would also work well with intimidating the enemy. And to ensure I stayed within the turtle limits, I made sure to give the turtle shell look to every piece of armor he had. Speaking of which, I changed up his weapon a bit too. The one shield on his back just seems like they were trying way too hard to have their own Captain America. With mine, I took that one big shield on his back and turned it into two little shields on his wrist. My idea is that he doesn't hold them at all, but when he throws out his arms, like throwing a frisbee, they shoot out and grow bigger mid-air, so when they reach whatever or whoever he's trying to protect, they can do the job. I think this is my first time changing up a weapon, but I love what I have. I know his shield returns to him, but if it were to get stuck or taken, he now has a backup. I wanted to do Kagami next, and like Nino, I had a plan going into this, but had trouble almost immediately. I wanted to change her hair so that it was tied up in the back, but it just didn't look right and I ended up redoing her original style, which I'm really glad I did. Her original hair looks like a blue helmet, but once I reworked it, I found that this hairstyle really suits her. With her clothes, I'm pretty sure they were going for the school uniform type thing, and like how anime characters are always wearing their uniforms even out of school, so I wanted to give her an outfit that looked like a school uniform, but was just casual clothes. I'm just now realizing while writing this that she and Felix are practically wearing the same thing. But it will probably look like I did it on purpose since they're both in the same boat with their controlling parents who force them into facades. Remember, I'm switching Felix and Adrian's roles in this story. They'll look like an adorable matching couple though, which brings me to Kagami's character. Like Marinette and Luca, Kagami and Felix's relationship will last longer than an episode. I plan on doing something special with them as they get to know each other better, but what I can say is very limited here, because most of it would be spoilers. So just know that something is going to happen with Kagami that's really going to spice up the story, and I'm super excited about it. I feel like all the good changes are in the later seasons, and I really wish I could just skip to them already. Kagami's superhero form, Riku, or Ryuku, I don't exactly know how to pronounce it, is actually kind of pretty. I really like how one leg has a boot and the other is just a swirly design. A lot of designs don't really look like the animals they're supposed to be themed after, but since there are so many types of dragon and the fact that they are mythical creatures, I like the direction they took it through. Even though it doesn't give off too much dragon energy besides the horns, it's kind of just fits. It can still be better though. Since basically everything with Kagami is Japanese themed, I had the idea of mixing Japanese armor with ninjas for the design. Though the Japanese armor didn't really make it into the final product. I think what I did come up with looks very mystical and graceful like a dragon. I hope you can tell I was still trying to keep the Japanese vibe with it. Like Nino, I changed around both her powers and her weapon. Her original power was that she can turn into one of 3 elements before the countdown to turn back started. It's the same here, just with different rules. She can only use one power at a time and will need to turn back and feed her Kwami before she can use another. How she activates her powers involves the charms on her belt. I haven't decided if she should crush the charm in her hands to activate it, or if she should just hold it and stuff happens. Either way, I think it looks very good. I changed her weapons from a sword to fans, and you might think fans are a weird choice for this, but these are special fans. They can reflect blast-like attacks and act like sharp knives on the battlefield. They also serve as a symbol for her character. Though I think she really does like fencing and using the sword, it's something that was decided she would do probably before she was born. Like Felix, she has very little control over her life, and like Felix, becoming Ryuku was a way to break free of it. The fans she uses are something she decided to use and get good at. No one really told her to become Ryuku and use the weapon she was unfamiliar with, but she did it anyways. So not only are the fans pretty, but they also serve as a symbol of the character growth she will experience throughout the story. But for now, I need to focus on the next batch of characters. Next video will be dedicated to the villains, and I keep telling myself I need to work on more consistent uploading schedules, but there are so many villain characters that are coming up, and I know I'm just setting myself up for failure with this one. At least I already did Chloe, and Adrian will probably get a video all to himself. But with that, good night, and God bless.